now moving over to the Women's World Cup. Now, interestingly, so how this came about, and which is why this show is going to go over the 1 hour that we normally go on. We weren't actually penned to cover it. I was speaking with Alex from Need for Tips, and so we were talking, and he goes, I don't know anybody who covers Women's World Cup. And I was like, me too. And I was like, well, let me have a look, and I'll see if I can find anybody anyway. So I did some searching, and this is how I found EJ. And EJ's like, yes, this is my thing. And I was like, wow, okay. And then we've got this like group chat thing, and Whale Kappa just independently with that thing. It's like, oh my God, I'm so excited about the Women's World Cup. I'm like, are you serious? Like, he's like, yes, I'm really serious. I'm like, Whale Kappa, I think you're just fooling me at this moment. And he's like, no, there's like some great lines. I've been capping this. So here are two experts for the Women's World Cup. Surprisingly, EJ, how did you get into betting the Women's World Cup?
Oh, man, this is going to be fantastic World Cup. I'm more than looking forward to it. USA, man, it's so hard to not expect their dominance again. The line is obviously moving away from them, though. French side, USA are locked up right there at the top. This is going to be an interesting World Cup. You know what? The Group E stuff, I think. You know, I know you want to talk about England and USA and those particular groups and all, but that Group E stuff is going to be crazy too. New Zealand's getting way underrated than they should be. There's so much experience on that squad, and yeah, they're a Caribbean whatever nation, but they're going to show up too. This is going to be more than an exciting World Cup, I think. It's not just going to be USA, and I think England's got a pretty damn good shot with all that experience Germany, up there too.
Possibly Germany as well. Well, first of all, obviously, football or soccer, as you boys like to call it.
Football.
Is not that popular in the US, is it? There are obviously other sports that your own football you particularly like. Why do you guys have such a great? Because really, I've done my research, so I do know a little bit of what I'm talking about. USA are a great female soccer team. Why so? As
They're the ones
to
who get the support. They're the ones who get more support than the men's team do. With all the craziness that goes on the men's side, the only reason why there's never going to be a men's and a women's champion at the same time is because the men can't do it. No. So, you know, that's the biggest problem. And obviously this whole being treated fairly and equal is just a mess. Obviously, we saw Miss Norway give up her role on that role. And that's a big loss for Norway. She's an animal. I was really sad to see her go. So obviously the stand that all these women are making to be treated equal is a big stand. Obviously, I assume that you feel some of this too. This is a tough call for them because they deserve a lot more, and especially in this country. U.S. women's soccer is massive in this country, massive. Every little girl who is under 15 wants to be on that soccer team, wants to watch that soccer team and be around that soccer team, and that's big. That's huge. I think women's soccer is actually bigger in America than men's soccer is, and it always will be. And yet they do not get. I don't know if the women's soccer league really gets any attention in this country. You don't see it. You're going to have to buy some service or do something to get the NWSL, which stinks. I think the women deserve more there too, because the MLS isn't the only league in this country, and it's unfair that it has actually turned to that. Now the North American Soccer League is completely dismantled, and that's a mess too. American soccer is a mess on the men's side, but the women have it down, and I think everyone appreciates how much that the women have it together. They deserve more money, they deserve more treatment, and they deserve more respect. I no doubt about it.
Yeah. And let's hope because they let's hope in the World Cup today. So USA obviously 4.5 there. Whale Kappa, do you think your girls can do it?
No, I think I don't like the price on them at all. And,
really?
Okay, so to kind of echo a lot of what EJ was saying, for sure, there's been a tremendous investment in this country in women's youth soccer, which has kind of trickled up into why there are good professional women's soccer players and why there's good national team. On top of that, there's immense competition for eyeballs and attention amongst the sports in the United States, amongst all the professional sports. But in June, July, in the summertime, it's kind of only baseball. And so you throw a national event in there like the World Cup or the Olympics, and you really kind of get everyone in the U.S. interested immediately. And the Women's World Cup is a great example of that. You go back to like the 1990 first ever Women's World Cup, and it absolutely captivated the United States. And, there's been a bunch of these kind of examples through the, through the years where people rally around just the event itself. That's why I care about it. Like, I clearly remember, the last couple Olympic cycles and World Cup cycles for women's soccer, and they were fantastically entertaining. There's all kinds of drama, especially in this World Cup, which is more wide open than most World Cups. It's taking place in France. Important things to know from a handicapping perspective: World Cups in general in Europe are much tougher on teams that come from the Pacific Rim. So your China, your Japan, New Zealand, Australia to a lesser extent, because a lot of their players play in North America and Europe. But those teams are traveling a lot farther, and it's a lot harder on them to adjust to the travel demands of playing in Europe, and you tend to see them underperform, especially early in the tournament. So I have kind of docked my expectations for Japan, especially on that basis. I think you're going to see, they're going to have a much tougher time winning their group than people are expecting. And then on the flip side, teams from Europe tend to play pretty well. Teams from America and South America tend to play pretty well. Those are just kind of some general rules about the Women's World Cup as far as looking at past performance. Specifically the U.S. and why they are so highly rated is kind of a head scratcher to me. They have a ton of new pieces on the defensive side of things. They don't really have a very solid backfield. They have a new starter in goal relative to past Olympic and past.
Wait. You did not just say the USA does not have a strong backfield. Did you just say that?
I don't think that their wingers on defense have the experience, have the goods. They've been searching for answers at left and right back. I don't think that they've got the core defensive unit combined with a new goalie to necessarily elevate them to be favorites in this tournament. You combine this with the fact that I think they pretty clearly win their group. I don't think that's really a question. The problem is the way that the knockout round breaks down. They'll have to face the winner of Group A in the quarterfinals, who's going to be France, right? So your two co-favorites are going to wind up playing each other in the quarterfinals. That has to open up value on the other side of the draw. And, I think it's pretty strong. I agree with the odds. France is overwhelmingly likely to win Group A. U.S. overwhelmingly likely to win Group F. That sets up a disaster for both of those teams in the quarterfinals. One of them's getting knocked out, and that's going to open up a ton of value in the rest of the outrights market. I'm looking on the bottom half of the draw. You brought up Group E. Group E clearly looks like the most competitive group, most entertaining group. I think Netherlands comes out of there. I like them at their current price, -130. And I like Netherlands just in general. Like, I think that they are a team that they have tactical advantages over a lot of the other women's groups that are in this tournament. They're going to have to go through Australia in the quarterfinals. That's another kind of head-to-head that's got me a little bit concerned because, I liked both of those teams as kind of dark horses. But, you can get them at 8-1, 10-1. You can get them at relatively decent long shot prices to win the whole thing. And I do think either Australia or Netherlands is the team that represents the bottom half of the draw in the final. So those are my two looks in the outright market. I got some Australia, I got some Netherlands, and I think whoever wins that quarterfinal matchup represents the bottom half in the final. Top half, USA France is going to be so freaking hard to predict. If I felt more confident about our goalkeeping, if I felt more confident about our left and right backs, then I would say USA is going to get through that one, and then they'll be in the final. But at the price they're currently listed, I can't say I feel super strongly about it. So I'm going to stay away from those two.
Interesting stuff. But why do you say about the back? Because obviously we're going to go on and just preview a few of the games here. When did they get their new goalie? Because in recent times they score and they rarely even concede. So I'm not sure why they've got a bad. Just if you obviously go on by scores, then they don't let goals in.
So Hope Solo was the anchor on goal for years and years and years. Through their most successful teams, through their last World Cup victory, Hope Solo was an enormous part of that. She was replaced after the last Olympics. She made some pretty controversial statements about the Swedish team's tactics and their coach. And, I think politically they had just kind of enough was enough with the drama that she was bringing off the field. So they've moved on from Hope Solo. And, so you have inexperience, really, is what it boils down to. Okay. You have, obviously they play a ton of friendlies. They play a ton of international matches. They get these girls some damn decent reps over the course of the intermediate time between the big matches. But World Cup is a big deal. And it's if they get into the knockout rounds of the World Cup and for whatever reason they end up in a shootout with France or something like that in the quarterfinals, I'm gonna have some serious question marks about how we do in that situation. So that's really what's got me a little spooked about getting involved in Team USA from a financial standpoint. Bobby, I'd be rooting for them with my heart. Obviously, I want to see USA Australia or USA Netherlands in the final. That would be my preference. But the way that they're coming into this with the inexperience on the back end of things has me a little concerned.
All right, so EJ, you've heard what Wales going for there.
Disagree.
Okay. Head to head.
Yep.
Okay, I mean a little bit head to head. Although World Cup has certainly had a lot of more experience than I do on the Women's World Cup here. But I don't know. I quite fancy USA's chances. What do you like, EJ?
Well, first of all, I think Canada's going to win that group, man. I don't think the Netherlands is going to win Group B. I think Canada is. There's no doubt they're going to go 1-2 out of there. Although New Zealand is definitely going to be that third team that's going to present some problems down the road in the round of 16 and beyond. But, man, I'm not convinced that the Netherlands is going to be able to just cruise through here, even though the European thing is, yep, we all know that. And that's certainly a factor. So definitely something you have to concern yourself with. But that puts Germany in another good situation, too, because that Group P team is going to get a third-place team in that round of 16. Well, that would be Germany. Yeah. And they're going to cruise. They should be into the quarterfinals with no problem. And now you have to deal with Germany. Has to win 3 more games to win the Cup. Oh, at plus 800, Germany has a little bit of value, man. Like you said, with the U.S. getting that early test early, that could change who wins this Cup, man. That's a big early meeting that takes out one of those 2 big teams. And, man, I think Germany might reap some of those benefits. I really do. Seeing them at that plus 800 and that third spot right behind USA and France is just like, oh, look at Germany just hanging out there waiting for me to put my money on them. Man, that's a little scary, honestly. But the U.S. thing, man, listen, Sauerbrunn, Krieger, O'Hara, all those guys are going to be fine, man. I don't know why you're worried about Alyssa and Net. I think Alyssa's going to be fine. She has some European experience. And by the way, I have Lloyd and I have Morgan, and you don't. Thank you.
Well, tell me what's the strategy with Carly Lloyd? They're bringing her in as like a super sub at this point. That has me a little spooked. The fact that she would like to have a more kind of active role as kind of an anchor of the team, and the fact that she brings as much experience as she does, but that they're intending to bring her on as a sub, I don't know that I get it. And if you have, granted they have some very straightforward and easy group matches to kind of figure it out. But there's enough uncertainty surrounding the U.S. that I don't know that they should be such a huge favorite, especially on European soil. But it's going to be fun to watch either way.
Yeah.
All right. So very quickly here, outrights or the futures. What are you looking at World Cup at this particular moment in time?
So my 2 favorites in the group outrights are Netherlands and Australia. Australia has the best player in this tournament, in my opinion, and she plays in the U.S. and the USW and the women's professional soccer league is in the U.S. and she should have a decent adjustment travel-wise to playing in Europe, and she's got the stamina and the energy, and she really brings a lot to the table. In turn for the dancing Matildas, the Matildas. I can't remember what their nickname is, but it's fantastic. The Australian women's soccer team is my
waltzing Matilda,
my dark horse. The waltzing Matildas. They're -1. Yeah, I got them at -190 to win Group C. I think that's a pretty strong look. I do think Brazil, who they're in that group with, is wildly overrated. People think that they still have this, the same kind of strength and power that they've had in past international competition, and they're just not that team anymore. So I think Australia comes away with a Group C victory in style, and I like Netherlands at -130. I see what you're saying about Canada being dangerous, and I agree, but I don't like Canada's path. They're going to have to play New Zealand second. That's going to be tough. New Zealand has beef with Canada. That is like a legitimate, like, high intensity rivalry there between New Zealand and Canada. I can see that being a very physical, very draining match, and then they turn around and have to play the tactical New Zealand then third. I think it sets up pretty well for Netherlands. I think it sets up pretty well for Netherlands to get a little bit more tired, a little bit beaten up Canada in that third group match to set them up to steal Group E, which will be the most fun fun soccer to watch of all of them. That Group B is going to be fantastic. So it's Netherlands for me at -130 in Group E. It's Australia for me at -190. And then I like if you have a book that you can parlay. I like France, USA, and Australia as a 3-leg ACA. I like that as a treble. France, Australia, and USA to win their groups. I get it at about +120. So that should be a fun way to play the group stages. And then for the outrights, I like Australia. I have them at 10-1 in my pocket, and I like Netherlands as well. So those are the 2 looks I have for the outrights.
Cool. I always say "aka" like you're saying like a foreign language. Like
"Aka."
"Aka," like parlay. Okay. All right.
Aka.
And okay.
However you say it.
Thank you. Try to speak European. All right. Okay. Final question. We got to speed up because we are running by the clock here. So EJ, what are your outrights that you're sitting on right now? Or futures?
Well, now that England's come down to -160 or so, that's a little more playable. And like Will's talking about, that's certainly a combo play where you can definitely put that with at least one other play, even if it be Brazil. I'm shocked you don't think Brazil is really going to make any kind of noise in this competition. They will. I think they will, man. I honestly think that they're going to find a way to at least be competitive here. Will they take that group? Australia is so damn tough, and they have that experience, and obviously they have a goal scorer who's just ridiculous. So, yeah, that's going to be an interesting group because Italy's in there too, and no one is giving Italy any respect at all. I get it. They haven't earned a ton of it, but yet. Things happen, man. That Italy team is going to be a little bit more scary than I think people are giving. There's going to be low-scoring games with them right there. When the Netherlands, when the Netherlands and New Zealand play their first match, did you see that total is 3? Are you crazy, man? There's no way that total will stay under 3. There'll be 3 goals by halftime. So I don't even, man. There's a lot of plays out there, but England at -165, I think, has some value. At least some value to put with something. I like Canada to end up winning that group, like I said, against the Netherlands. You and I are going to go back and forth there, Will. We'll see how that goes out. It'd be cool to have something else to talk about, too, though. Yeah, I'm surprised Japan kind of fell off the map the way they did. They got to the finals last time around, and really no one's given them any chance to really do much. Will they come out of that group? Not with England in it. They won't. So, man, England and Japan will certainly walk out of that group with no problem at all. I mean, there's no problem at all. So, but yeah, that's about it for me so far. When the games start coming, I'm going to give you a post. I'll be putting an article up on the site here in the next day or two. I'll be giving out a good chunk of plays for everybody to take advantage of for the first round.
Right. There we go. EJ, the Rainmaker. So give him a follow on Twitter there.